Hey, this is Mrs. Swigert, and today we're talking about translations. Now, I am sorry that I am not here for class. I have a meeting with the district that I didn't schedule. I'd rather be with you. Way rather be with you. But life is what it is. So, translations is our first of our transformations. It is just basically sliding a shape from one place to another. Okay? And so, first thing you need to know is the size of the shape does not change, and neither does the shape of the shape, the shape. And so these would be congruent because they don't change. The angles don't change either. They're congruent as well. And that's important to know. Okay, so corresponding sides are congruent, corresponding angles are congruent, orientation is preserved because I'm not really changing the shape, I'm just sliding it. So orientation is preserved or maintained. Remember, it can be either word. We talked about that Friday. Okay, now we're going to draw a little shape, and we're going to draw this every day of this unit. Okay, because it helps us with our transformations. First off, if you go up, you're going to go on the y-axis and you're going to add. So when we go up, we add. When we go down, we subtract the number of spaces we move. Okay. When we go right, well, we're on the x-axis, so that kind of makes sense, doesn't it? If we go right, we add. And if we go left, I'm sorry, and I misspelled left. It's one of those days. Okay. Okay. We're still on the x, but instead of add, we're subtract y. It's the negative n. Think about it. It kind of makes sense. Okay. Now, again, when you slide something, you're never going to slide it on a diagonal, so don't count diagonal spaces because we're not going to count those. Count spaces, not lines. Okay, and that would not be an S. Sorry about that. Okay, now we're not turning it, we're not flipping it, we're just sliding it. So not flipping or turning. Okay, so this would be my original shape, and I'm going to put an O there. This would be my new shape. So apparently I'm moving it this direction, and then I'm moving it this direction. Okay, so if you notice, this is how you would write that motion. So it's going in the positive direction. So because it's going this way, I'm going to the right. So I'm going to add the number of spaces. That's why this is add 7. Because again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spaces. I'm going down, so that means I'm going to subtract. Well, I went down 1, 2, 3 spaces to get to this corner. And they're saying 2. 1 space 2. I'll be honest, I don't like the bumps. I prefer a straight line. So if this was me, I would be going from tip to turn, and then I would be going down this way and no bumps, because it's just easier to count. Okay, that's just me, but I promise you it will help. And again, that is why this is subtract 2, because we went down, which is subtract. How many spaces? 2. And so that's how you write the math that's involved. Now, you do write the original of your pair. You do put an arrow, and you do put parentheses around it. It will always be add and subtract. So let's try a few. Now, sometimes they're just in words. So I'm going to shrink the screen so we can still see our picture. And again, it says that we need to write our rule. That's our whole thing. So again, I'm going to start with my ordered pair, the original. and it's going to go parenthesis. Well, my x is left and right, correct? So x, and it says left. Because it says left, I'm going to subtract 2. My y is the up and down axis, and so I'm going to do y, and it says up 5, so that would be this, wouldn't it? Because when it goes up, it's this. Okay, so plus 5. And there's your rule. Okay, let's do another one. Again, we start with xy, parenthesis, arrow, parenthesis. Now again, you're always looking for that left-right move first, because that's your x. So x, now it says left. Again, I'm going to go find the word left, and I'm going to subtract from the x, however many spaces it tells me. So it's subtract 3, comma, now I'm going to do the y. Y is up and down every single time. Well, if it goes down, I'm not going to the negative, so it'd be subtract 2. There we go. Okay, look at the next one. Again, we always start with the x and y. Parenthesis, arrow, parenthesis. Now it's going right. Well, guys, go to your little picture. Right's right here, so we're adding to the x. So x plus 4. And did it say anything about up, down? No. So we're just going to put y without adding or subtracting anything, because that y stays the same as what it was. Okay, next one. Again, start with the xy. Okay, right, left, it says right 6. So that x. Now right, I want to remind you again, right is adding the number of spaces. So plus 6. Y is up, down, and it's going down, so I'm going to subtract. How many does it say it moved? 7. Parenthesis. Simple enough. Again, if it doesn't make sense, go back and watch that part. It doesn't take much to rewind, just a little bit. Again, I want to remind you, this right here is where all your help will come from. If you write this and memorize this, I promise you these will become very, very easy. Okay? Now on the next one, again, it says write the algebraic representation. And it says translate 3 right and 5 up. So algebra x, parenthesis, arrow, parenthesis, right means I'm adding. So I'm adding 5. Up means I'm adding. So I'm adding 3. So there's my rule that I'm fixing to use. Now they're changing a whole set of order pairs. They're moving a shape. Okay? So now we're going to apply that rule. So my first point, well, guys, my first point, and I'm going to just start with the V. Here's my first point, okay? So that would be -6, -2. Let's go get our points. My Y, my U, well, that one is 2 and -2. My T, again, it's over here, okay? My T, again, 2, -5. And my S is 3, and it's -3, -5. All I did was go get my order points from here, 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 and here. Now, we've got to apply this rule. Well, it said to all the x's, add 5. So that's an x, that's an x, that's an x, that's an x. To all the y's, add 3. Okay, my new order pair, well, -6, +5 gives me -1. -2, +3 gives me +1. Okay. 2 plus 5 is 7. -2 plus 3 is +1. 2 plus 5 is +7. Negative 5, positive 3 is negative 2. Negative 3 plus 5, well, that's positive 2. And then negative 5 plus 3 is negative 2. All I did was follow my integer rules. Now go graph where my new shape is. Okay, negative 1 and positive 1. So there's my first dot. There's my V mark. Okay, U is positive 7 and then positive 1. So it's going to be right here. And that's, again, U with a prime mark. So I can connect those 2 points. Okay, then T, that would be 7 and negative 2. And this would be connected. And this is my T with my little prime mark. And then my last one is positive 2, negative 2. And that's going to connect off that point. Again, that is U prime. So see how my shape, it went up and over. So it went up, 5? Now how do I tell that it moved? How it moved? Again, take a point and just track its movement. See, this one went up 3. And I'm going to change colors just to make this very obvious. Okay, it went up 3 and then over 5. Does that make sense? Because you're not going to go diagonally. You're going to go up and over or down and over. Okay? Any questions? Okay. Now, that's it for the notes. Everything you're doing in class is connected to that. Again, you'll be writing rules like this, but that's where you pull this out, and it'll help you write it. Again, left, right always goes first. Up, down always goes second. And you just put the number with, like if it says 4 right, you're going to put 4, and you're going to add to the X. If it says 3 down, you're going to subtract from the Y 3 places. And again, they're going to give you some of these where you have to change the spot where it moves. But again, you're just putting this rule, and you're doing this to all the X's and this to all the Y's, and getting its new location and graphing it. So it shouldn't be that hard. So I did leave the assignment on Google Classroom, and you should be fine. And we will practice this again tomorrow. Again, all you'd have to do is rewatch the video if you are confused. Okay? Talk to you later. Be extra good for my subs.